I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Andrew Chilton. Thank you so much for that. And for those who want to request pretty much any type of videos or reviews, topics, reactions, whatever, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box, if you wish. And it's funny, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's raining big time. Which makes sense because I'm in a sour mood after watching this. And while this movie, no, it's not the worst movie, it's not one of the worst movies, it's not one of the worst animated films, the thing is, it's a very lame follow-up to a pretty damn good flick. I love the original Heavy Metal. The original Heavy Metal, to me, is a classic. Yeah, you may consider it cheap animation, but I like the way that film looks. I love the anthology aspect because it creates a sense of variety, different types of stories from B-17 bomber, easy comic horror type to fun, comedic robots, and you have aliens doing drugs to the almost sword and sorcery fantasy Charna and her badass dragon. Like, there's a sense of variety, and quite a bit of it has a sense of humor as well, which this film is severely lacking in the humor department. And you have a great soundtrack. You had Sammy Hagar, Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, Devo. I just really enjoy that film. And then you get this follow-up, and to me it's rather lame. I mean, the plot, there's a crystal that's a key. If you get the crystal and you go to this one place, you can find pretty much a fountain of youth, and you get immortality. But people who grab the crystal, they go insane. And the person who grabs it is Michael Ironside, who is our main villain. Which I love Michael Ironside. From Total Recall, and just anytime I see Michael Ironside, it's fun. You know, he was in Highlander 2, he was in a lot of movies. And like I said, it's always nice to see Michael Ironside. He does a good job as the villain, once again. He kills some people, he commandeers a ship, gets two people to take him where he needs to go, which is this desert planet. It's not entirely desert, but he kills some of the people there because the scanners showcase that they got a little bit of that immortality fluid in their bodies, so he captures some in order to suck out the fluids and take a little bit for his own pleasure until he gets to his destination for the whole full fountain of youth. While he also kidnaps this woman for fun, sex, and the girl that he kidnaps happens to be the sister of our lead character, voiced by Julie Strain. Now, Julie Strain passed away earlier this year. At the time, she was the wife of Kevin Eastman, which the story is based on, a comic he wrote. because Kevin Eastman was one of the creators of the Ninja Turtles, him and Peter Laird. After quite a few years, Kevin Eastman wanted to do his own thing, worked in Heavy Metal Comics. This is one of the stuff he made. This is based on that. Julie Strain was his wife, so she got to be the voice of this. Also, her appearance. And Julie Strain did fine for what, I mean, I've heard much, much worse. For what she needed to do, she did fine. It's a short film, hour and 20 some minutes. It's violent. You got decapitations, you got people shot in the head, and it's a bloody film. You got some nudity. Early on, you did a shower scene. Titties, ass. You know. So you got your nudity, you got your gore, you got your short running time. So again, it's not the worst movie ever, but after the first film, it's just a lame follow-up. I don't feel it has as much creativity, definitely not as much humor, not as much ingenuity. The anthology aspect taken out, I think, is a big step back, because it's only one story, so the variety is gone. But then it's a story that feels like just a remake of the last story in the first movie, which is Tarna. Tarna, the lady, she didn't talk, but she got the sword, she got the armor, she also had a badass dragon, and that also had to deal with this power that also had the color of green. Because this crystal at times has the color of green to it, kind of like the thing in the first film. So, badass lady who looks hot, scantily clad armor, and a sword. There's even a scene in this that rips that off, where Julie Strain's character is in a pool and she's naked and she gets out of it. She gets the armor, the sword. That's just like the last story on the first Heavy Metal. So even that brings even more down the creativity. Not just that you have one story, but you have one story that I know is based on a comic that Kevin Eastman wrote, but that just feels like a remake of a story we already saw in the first Heavy Metal. And the soundtrack, I don't care for the soundtrack in this. Like I said, in the first film, we had Sammy Hagar, Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult. Here, we did fucking... Who do we got? Cold Chamber, Full Devil Jacket, Puya. What the fuck is a Puya? Okay, you did Pantera. You did a song by Billy Idol. But you also did Insane Clown Posse, which I'm not a fan of ICP. If you are, that's cool. I'm not a fan of Insane Clown Posse. It's just such a step down, in my opinion, soundtrack-wise, compared to the first film. And so you're just seeing this movie that just, it's got blood and it's got tits, but just nowhere near the creation of so many different variables of environments, whether it be the future New York taxi cabs of Harry, I forgot his last name in it, in the first movie, or again the being in space, or again the fantasy element, the last story, the B-17 bomber. Here it just, it also does this thing where it mixes 2D animation with 3D. That works if you have the budget. Around the time you had Titan AE. Titan AE, not IE. Titan AE had the budget to make that work more fluidity. And it still holds up. It still looks really good. It looks really cool. This did not have the budget because it was pretty much a straight-to-video film. I don't know if it really looked good back then. It definitely does not look good now, the 3D animation. The 2D is fine, but the 3D animation, it looks very antiquated. Because they did not have the budget to do it at the time, and so even in the long run, it looks worse for the wear. And the story, it's what I mentioned before, and then Julie Strain wants to go after to kill Mike Ironside and also rescue her sister. She gets with this one guy who used to be with Mike Ironside's group, but he was forced to pilot the ship but he's not a bad guy. So the both of them, and that guy was kind of annoying. He was just kind of just a, whiner. There are times they're trying to push the R rating, like they go to this area and there's a robot that's a sex robot, and the guy's trying to get this other guy. I think his name was Jermaine, which is funny. The last time I heard someone called Jermaine, he was a Jackson, but this is a different Jermaine. I think this one's spelled with a G, not a J. So they go to this station. You get some shootouts, some grenades, people getting shot. You get the blood going. There's a point where they have to follow Michael Ironside as he's going through hyperspace, and they're attached to it. Whether at least another, they get crashed down in this planet. Michael Ironside kills some of the leaders of these lizard people in order to become top dog. Michael Ironside sounds like he's having fun with some of his lines of dialogue, and he's putting some gusto into his performance. He's not half-assing it. Like I said, Michael Ironside is one of the best parts of the film, in my opinion. Julie Strain meets some people on that planet. He meets this cloaked individual, voiced by Billy Idol. Speaking of Billy Idol, his name is Odin, and then also this little stone creature named Zeke. And pretty much the attempts that Julie Strain's trying to kill Michael Ironside, but Michael Ironside has these potions, so when he drinks them, he's able to heal his wounds and be immortal for a little bit longer. Rescues his sister, gets the armor, battle, stops the bad guy. There's another bad guy. That bad guy gets stopped. Things are okay. End the movie. I mean, Julie Strain is not that bad as the lead voice. Like I said, you got your gore, you got your nudity. There's a shower scene early on. Not Julie Strain, but the character that's her sister. Like I said, trying to blend 2D and 3D animation does not work the best. Doesn't hold up the best. The soundtrack, some of that industrial metal stuff, which I much prefer the old school rock and roll that we had in the original film. And like I said, the story is just a very mundane, meh story. Because we've already seen it in the first Heavy Metal. And with all the different imaginative deviations of stories from the Heavy Metal comics that you could go into all different directions, and the direction you go into is almost a remake of a story you already did. Again, it's not the worst movie ever, because I already said, Michael Ironside, the short running time, gore, nudity. But I guess if you don't know, I would wonder if you knew nothing about the original, maybe you'd like this more. But knowing the original, and for me how good it is, this is just a big step down in quality. And it's why you didn't really see any other Heavy Metal. I know there was talks of doing a live action film that was supposed to be an anthology, and they were going to get, I think, was it James Cameron and David Fincher and Guillermo del Toro and Zack Snyder and or somewhere mix of them. That'd be interesting. I would admit that would be interesting to see. And then Robert Rodriguez wanted to do it, and then that fell through. Who knows if this stuff would be made nowadays in this PC culture. She's too that's sexist. But she's a badass lady who's killing people and cutting heads off. I don't care, it's still sexist. So, if you like the film, that's cool. To me, I'd rather just watch the first film. Like I said, there's really not a whole lot of creativity in the story, and that's one of the complaints I have about it. And taking away the anthology aspect was another big mistake, in my opinion. And again, if you don't make a one-off story, be a bit more, dare I say, original. I mean, like I said, there's a scene, literally is the same fucking scene as the Tarna in the first movie, the last story. Rest in peace, Julie Strain. Like I said, she's not the worst part of the movie. And, again, I couldn't even enjoy the soundtrack. I'm like, what? Who the fuck is Puya? Who the fuck is Full Devil Jacket? I barely know who the fuck Cold Chamber is. I know, sue me. Again, Billy Idol has a song I don't mind. Pantera, I like Pantera, but not enough to save this movie. So it doesn't even have a cool soundtrack, in my opinion. I know there's a video game released that's like a sequel to this. Never played it. But yeah, Heavy Metal 2000, I don't know what else to say. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.